impulse buy at IKEA, and like I would say truly the best impulse buy at IKEA. I just realized that as I'm furnishing my own apartment that I get to choose the things that I want and the ways in which I want my apartment to be kind of extra. And a white fluffy pillow seemed like just the thing. If you would like to take a guess at my zodiac sign, now's a great time to do that. If you're thinking Earth sign, you're absolutely right. Anyway, so we're in the cozy corner because we're gonna do something so cozy. I have a cup of tea because I am recovering from a absolutely heinous cold. Ugh. Sorry. Gross. So first things first, tea. I'm drinking echinacea tea with honey. Maybe you should get yourself a cup of tea and we can have tea together. Talk about books too. So the other cozy thing that we're doing is we're going to talk about some books. A couple weeks ago in a Target haul video that I made, I mentioned that I had got some books and I was going to make a video, and then I totally forgot about it because I'm an absolute space cadet. And there you have it. So, here we are. I have a couple of books that I want to show you. I would say this is my October, November TBR, if you will. I don't anticipate that I will actually read all of these books in October. Maybe in October and November combined, but I've been a slow reader recently. I used to live with one of my really good friends who is a really fast reader. And I used to think that I wasn't being a good reader if I wasn't a fast reader. And I now don't think that that's the case. I mean, there is some merit to being a fast reader. I have the crippling anxiety a lot of the time that there are so many books on the planet, so many books worth reading, that I will never get the chance to read, and that really just hurts me so deeply. And so I think that kind of spurs on my desire to read quickly. But I'm a girl with executive functioning issues, and if I'm reading quickly, you sure as hell know that nothing is going into the old noggin. So that was a long way of saying I read slowly. Reading is really taking a back burner. There you have it. That's fine. I will continue to read. It's a really long tangent about reading and reading speed. Whatever. But whatever speed at which you read, you are absolutely a good reader. I feel very strongly about that, and I also feel very strongly about this, which is totally a side note, but I feel like this is true for a lot of things, like running. I used to think because I was not a fast runner that I was not a runner, and now I've decided that I am a runner. I don't run fast. Let's be clear, I run quite slow, but I run. I go and I do it, and I enjoy it most of the time. Half of the time. So, anyway, sorry for sniffling right into the mic. Yuck. Anyway, all this to say, I read slow, and you should too. realize how much I enjoy just like reading light books, especially, the past couple years. So I just thought, why not go with it? It's getting darker, it's getting colder, it's getting wetter. Let's choose something light and fun. And yeah, I'm leaning into fall in every other way. Don't worry. Like, I'm eyeing my pumpkin spice cookies that are on the counter over there, but yeah, I thought literarily, let's choose something a little light. Okay, so the next book that I got is this book which I have wanted to read for so long. I have been eyeing this book because I don't even know what it was about this book. Like, I think it just reminded me of names of books and like vibes of covers. Like, I really judged this book by the cover of books that I read when I was a kid. And honestly, I'm always chasing that feeling of reading a book when I was a kid. I remember the first book that I read after I graduated, and I read one book for fun during college. I'm pretty sure one or two. I think one of them was Americana, and the other one, what was it? I don't remember. One of them was Americana. It took me like a year to finish because college is hard. But the first book that I read for fun that made me feel the way I felt reading as a kid was Circe. I read that book and was like, oh my god. Like, reading can be joyful, reading can be fun. It doesn't always have to be a slog. It doesn't always have to be hell. So, obviously, since then, I've been chasing that high. And for some reason, this book just, like, calls my name. This book is called The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. And I'm pretty sure it's a fantasy book. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure. I'll read the back. Every great city has a soul. Some are ancient as myths. Others are as new and destructive as children. New York, she's got 6. And all 6 will be called to arms in the greatest battle the city has ever fought. Dazzling with imagination, brimming with passion, and crackling with wit, the city we became is a modern masterpiece of culture, identity, magic, and myth in contemporary New York City. I'm really excited. I guess on the spine it says fantasy, so I guess one might classify this as a fantasy book. But yeah. So, and there's I love the vibe of the cover, like the colors. I remember I saw this at some bookstore when it was hardback, and I was like, I'm gonna read that book. Oh my gosh, they all have names. Stop. Oh my god, I'm so excited to read this book. Okay, the next book that let's see, I'm gonna skip ahead to the book that I got in my book of the month box this month, because I haven't started it yet, and then I'll end with the book that I'm reading right now. This book is what I got in my book of the month, and it's called The Perishing, a novel by Natasha Dion. And this book was the only book, I guess it's October, so it's kind of a spooky month, but this was the only book in the books that Book of the Month was doing for October that wasn't like scary. And like, I'll be honest, I'm not gonna call myself a wimp, but like in this visionary novel from NAACP Image Award nominee Natasha Dion. Lou, a young black woman, wakes up in an alley in 1930s Los Angeles with no memory of how she got there or where she's from. Taken in by a caring foster family, Lou dedicates herself to her education while trying to put her mysterious origins behind her. She'll go on to become the first black female journalist at the LA Times, but Lou's extraordinary life is about to take an even more remarkable turn. When she befriends a firefighter at a downtown boxing gym, Lou is shocked to realize that though she has no memory of meeting him, she's been drawing his face for years. Increasingly certain their paths previously crossed and beset by unexplainable flashes from different eras haunting her dreams, Lou begins to believe she may be an immortal sent here for a very important reason, one that only others like her can explain. Setting out to investigate the mystery of her existence, Lou must make sense of the jumble of lifetimes calling to her, just as new forces threaten the existence of those around her. Immersed in the rich historical tapestry of Los Angeles, Prohibition, the creation of Route 66, and the collapse of the St. Francis Dam, The Perishing is a stunning examination of love and justice through the eyes of one miraculous woman whose fate seems linked to the city she comes to call home. I do want to read this book this month because it does seem a little gently spooky and super cool. It's kind of a sinister name though for a book that doesn't seem super sinister. There you have it. Alright, okay, so the last book is the book that I am currently reading. This is Sally Rooney's newest book, Beautiful World, Where Are You? And I love Sally Rooney. I read Normal People right after I graduated from college. Actually, Normal People might have been that other book that I read while I was in college. I either read it while I was in college or right after. And it rocked my socks. It was the best. It really hit that moody, angsty vibe that I had post-college. And I say that in a slightly judgy way, and truly this is just hitting my mid-20s moody vibe. So I don't know, Sally Rooney is so moody, so wonderful. I saw a tweet the other day that was Sally Rooney isn't relatable, you just need to go to therapy, and I was like, well, true, but anyway, what do I love about Sally Rooney? I love that she writes about relationships that are messy, and this one's really basic, but I love the nuance that she captures in relationships. And I think Normal People was kind of the beginning, for me, the beginning of that. But this book, there's a relationship in this book that is so familiar to me in the way that they are in love, but both of them are just doing other things and are kind of masquerading as romantic partners, but are actually involved with other people. That's not a great way to describe it, but they have this incredible, these two characters have this incredibly intimate romantic relationship, and they almost are kind of like husband and wife. They're so close, and yet like he's in a relationship with another woman, and she's like deeply involved in her work and like doesn't acknowledge that her relationship with him is like as intimate as it is. And he's like her old close friend too. Anyway, the nuance that she writes into relationships is so poignant to me. And I just recently learned that she, like, before she was a novelist, she was like a Marxist writer on the internet and like writes about communism. I didn't know that about her. I love that for her. And so this book, I think, really deftly, so far, I'm like halfway or a third of the way through, navigates the landscape of like how could a person write a contemporary novel at a time like this, and how could someone get so wrapped up in the mundane minutia of like interpersonal relationships and writing about, you know, like people sitting in coffee shops and like whatever that is, when, you know, we're having this kind of great global crisis, this rise of extremism, like so many things that are happening in the world. And then how could we just sit down and like say, you know, I'm gonna write about two people who are in love, or I'm gonna write about, you know, whatever the heck else. And I really love that she writes about that because it's so self-aware. And then she also, so the book is bolstered by a correspondence between two friends, Alice and Eileen. I'm pretty sure Alice and Eileen. Yes, Alice and Eileen. And so in these letters they're writing to each other, there's also like a lot of kind of like throwing around ideology and talking about like beliefs about our current world. And it's like a really wonderful backdrop to then these kind of almost still lives in between them of like each of these two individual women in their own relationships. Anyway, this book is awesome. I love reading Sally Rooney. I think reading Sally Rooney in the fall is like the moodiest, folliest thing you could do. You know, like Adele just came out with her new song. It's getting dark and cold, and I'm gonna turn on Easy on Me and listen and read Sally Rooney and just feel every feeling I could ever need to feel. So there you have it. I'll read the cover. Alice, a novelist, meets Felix, who works in a warehouse, and asks him if he'd like to travel to Rome with her. In Dublin, her best friend Eileen is getting over a breakup and slips back into flirting with Simon, a man she has known since childhood. Alice, Felix, Eileen, and Simon are still young, but life is catching up with them. They desire each other, they delude each other, they get together, they break apart, they have sex, they worry about sex, they worry about their friendships and the world they live in. Are they standing in the last lighted room before the darkness, bearing witness to something? Will they find a way to believe in a beautiful world? I would say that's like a pretty fair summation, at least to the point I've read, of what the book is about. It's very good. I love talking to people about normal people, the book, because I just think it's so polarizing. I really loved it because it reminded me so much of a relationship that I was in when I was young, and how involved one can be in a relationship that's so toxic, and how much you can think that's the only relationship that you're capable of, or that that's like true love. And I love talking to people about it because, you know, some of my friends who read it were like, that's so unrealistic, it was so fake. And I was like, well, I feel like I've been in a relationship that was similar, for sure. obviously different in a lot of ways, but I love hearing people's thoughts. So if you've read Normal People, let me know what you thought of it. Yeah, I love chatting about it. One of my friends thinks Sally Rooney is too dramatic. I'm like, no, give me the drama, like, give me the angst. Because, like, I don't know, I'm a Cancer rising. Yeah, I'm a Cancer rising. Like, I just want, like, moody, deep feelings, like, all up in this bitch. So, anyway. Oh, my little croaky frog. This video has been absolutely chaotic. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you.